Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth and the final day of our virtual conference series. I'm Eugenie Mawati. I'm a co-founder and senior advisor of Nexus 3 Foundation, and I will be your moderator for today. I'm joining you from Amersham in England. Also joining me for this for the technical support, Leah, Mani, and Gary from Manila, Kenneth in Davao City, and Handra from Jakarta. Just for a quick check to see if you, our dear participants, are hearing us loud and clear, can you type in the chat box below your location, what city or country you are joining us from? Okay, let's see. Who is joining from where? Davao City. Yes, Yogyakarta. Antipolo. South Korea. Welcome. Muntinlupa. I think I went there once. Penang. Yay. Davao City. Jakarta again. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, it's good. We haven't seen anyone from Bangkok yet or Thailand, but I think they will be joining soon. Is there any place that I haven't mentioned yet? Yeah, Quezon City. Yeah, okay, excellent. I think I will start introducing this virtual conference. This conference is co-organized by EcoWaste Coalition, Earth, and Nexus 3, and it's supported by the Stockholm Environment Institute and IPEN, International Pollutant Elimination Network. The IPEN Southeast Asia and East Asia Regional Network is composed of public interest NGOs in 10 countries in Southeast and East Asia, working for toxic-free future for all. Our last regional conference was in 2018 in Puerto Princesa City in the Philippines, where we had 3 days of rich discussions of our work, effective campaign strategies, fundraising, and so on. This conference would have been an in-person meeting in Bali, Indonesia. However, due to this unprecedented time because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to go virtual, but it's fine. We meet everyone every week. Yeah, but this virtual setup has also provided us an opportunity to reach out to a broader audience and involve more groups. So a warm welcome to new friends beyond our existing network who are joining us now. We know that not everyone has good internet access, and doing everything online is challenging. So we thank you all for being patient to bear with whatever technical challenges or connectivity issues we encounter in this conference series. Despite limitations, we are grateful for everyone's active engagement and dialogue in this virtual conference. At this point, allow me to highlight some meeting reminders. Dear participants, this session is being recorded with your consent. We are also airing this live on several Facebook pages. When not speaking, please be on mute and turn on your videos when speaking. For those participating via Facebook, you can use the comments section should you have questions. About languages, to make our content more accessible to many people, we have put a lot of efforts into translating the presentations to different languages. The presentations of the speakers would have available subtitles in Bahasa Indonesia, English, Thai, and Vietnamese, as you see in the video presentation before. Before each presentation, we will provide you with the links where you could have access to the subtitles in these languages. There is a simultaneous translations to Chinese available now. Just click below in the interpretation box. You also have the option to mute the original audio, so you could just listen to Drung, our Chinese interpreter. In this regard, we would like to express our sincere thank you to all our speakers who prepared their presentations well in advance, so we could have time to translate and put it into subtitles. Sincere thanks also for all the translators. Terima kasih, Kamunban, Kakumka, Sisi. Yeah, so we learned a bit about thank you in many languages now. Let us now review why we are here and where we are in our conference journey. Okay, for theme and overview of a 4-day conference series, roughly 70% of the world's urban population lives in developing countries. And in these areas, communities are disproportionately exposed to toxic chemicals, with marginalized and vulnerable groups, such as pregnant women and children, are at greater risk. Toxic chemicals have been linked to disturb immune responses and other serious illnesses. Therefore, the effort of civil society groups to pursue citizen science initiatives across Southeast Asia and Southeast Asia and East Asia towards addressing pollution problems in their communities is crucial. That is why we have decided to focus our regional conference on citizen science and its role in preventing and reducing urban pollution from toxic chemicals. The first 2 days of our virtual conference series focus on what is citizen science, and we heard many inspiring citizen initiatives in the region and beyond that resulted in good outcomes. On day 1, we discussed, in particular, how citizen science helps implement the Sustainable Development Goals. On day 2, we zeroed in our citizen science helps to promote women's health. If you want to review the presentation on the first 2 days, they are all available on the conference website at ipensia.asia and our conference YouTube channel. Since last week, have been zeroing in on challenges and solutions. If you recall from the first presentations of Rachel, she shared the findings of their research on what are challenges facing citizen science initiatives. This includes, among others, how to engage the very poor in projects and how to ensure data quality standards. Peng Chom, in her presentation, emphasized the importance of collaborating with scientists, connecting with media, and the general public. We also heard on day 2 from Pam and Andreas how their initiatives sought to engender women, youth, and indigenous communities' participation in particular. Day 3 was extra special because we had more time to interact with one another in the breakout rooms when we tackled the challenges one by one. And we used digital meta cards through Jamboard. It was fun to identify ways to solve these challenges. We had great insights from everyone. Thank you for that. Today is another special day because we will be hearing from 3 speakers that will offer us a unique perspective of our topics. One is an environmental epidemiologist based in Norway. The second heads a research laboratory in Indonesia. And the third is a government regulator from the Philippines. Are you all excited to hear from them? Okay, let me introduce you to our first speaker. Our speaker will be Dr. Nina Izzat from the Norwegian Institute of Public Health, where she researches early life environmental exposures, such as persistent organic pollutants and the development of adverse child health outcomes. She has a PhD in environmental and reproductive epidemiology from the Imperial College of London. Nina has a long-standing interest in participatory research methods and the strength and limitations of community participation since her days when she was based in the Philippines in the late 90s. Nina has been with us in this virtual conference since day one. Thank you, Nina. So her presentation will connect the dots of many of the things we have been discussing. Friends, let us welcome Nina. Dr. Nina, please welcome. And a reminder, those who wish to listen to the presentation in English or Chinese, you will stay here inside the Zoom meeting room. For those who wish to have Bahasa Indonesia, Vietnamese, and or Thai subtitles, please click on the link in the chat box or access the presentation from our website. So you could open the video and choose your preferred subtitles. Welcome, Dr. Nina. The floor is yours.
Thank you to IPEN for inviting me to give this talk, which intersects two of my interests, studying the effects of persistent organic pollutants on children's health at the Norwegian Institute of Public Health, and also on the use of participation to deepen democratic governance. Citizen science is a hot topic and has more recently been used by governments and corporations to obtain input from citizens. The participation sector is growing fast with professionals in science engagement who plan stakeholder engagement processes. From this perspective, it is a technical tool for engagement. However, as a scientist with an activist heart, I would argue that citizen science is too important to be left in the hands of professionals and technocrats. We live in a time of populist leaders who don't believe in science and actively undermine scientific evidence, even that from their health advisors. There is an increase in false health information on the internet, particularly on widely used platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. And we live in a time of post-truth, in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. The result is that populations are increasingly suspicious of science, while there is political tumult with climate change denial and increasing environmental vulnerabilities at both local and global levels. But not just any citizen science. When we look at types of participation in citizen science, it is level 1 or 2 participation, where citizens collect or interpret data that is most often promoted by those seeking stakeholder engagement. On the other hand, levels 3 and 4, participatory and strongly participatory science, may have a deeper reason for the participation of citizens. So why might strong participation be desirable for an environmental NGO? In the book Toxic Truths, Barbara Allen describes a conversation with a member of a major international environmental organization. They thought that if you provide the local people with the best natural science produced by unbiased scientists, and you gave that science to the people, they would act. But this did not happen. Citizens given possession of good environmental science, even by an organization perceived as trustworthy, did not compel action. So the first challenge is to make the science relevant to everyday lived experiences. One way of showing how toxic chemicals in the environment are a concern is by showing that exposure to them has a health impact. In addition, when we understand the exposure pathway from environmental source through to health outcome, we can see all the options for interventions. Typically, there are emissions from a pollution source that can lead to environmental concentrations in food, water, air, or soil. Alternatively, toxic chemicals may be in consumer products, from baby toys and packaging to skin whitening cream. The toxicants can then enter humans as a result of activities such as eating, drinking, swimming, breastfeeding, or use of these products and be inhaled, ingested, or absorbed through the skin. These routes lead to a whole body uptake, some of which is metabolized and excreted and can be measured as a biomarker in urine, serum, or breath, and this leaves the biologically effective dose. The dose is what contributes to the development of disease. Using this framework, we can see where we can focus our monitoring efforts. This could be direct environmental exposure or understanding individual exposure through questions or biomonitoring, or collecting information on individual health through physical checkups, questions, or biomonitoring. We can then see which interventions are available. Prevention and control efforts, along with cleanup, is usually the primary target for legislation and political efforts. However, while legislating is a long process, more intermediate interventions may be available to individuals or communities to prevent exposure. This may include avoiding certain water sources, taking less polluted routes, or exercising at certain times. However, since some exposure activities cannot be avoided, breathing, for example, there may be a limit to the effectiveness of individual actions to reduce exposure. Furthermore, putting the responsibility of exposure reduction on individuals and communities can lead to a heavier cost for those already unjustly burdened with environmental pollution. The collection of specific and general health information allows for a further possibility of interventions that can support better community health. So, within this framework, what environmental health questions might we ask? First, we might want to know, are worse health outcomes correlated with exposure to pollution? Then, how does the socioeconomic context, for example, education, income, or housing quality, improve or worsen the effects of toxic pollution? Furthermore, are certain groups more vulnerable than others? For example, women and children, the elderly, indigenous people, urban poor, or migrants. The different toxic chemicals are, between them, known to affect most systems within the body and may be connected to illnesses that take a short time to manifest, such as infections, asthma, or allergies, or a long time, such as cancer. It may be easier to assess the effects of toxic chemicals on these illnesses with a short latency than those with a long latency, as the pathway from exposure to illness is easier to follow. So how can we study the health effects of a toxic exposure? A simple design drawing on existing data could be to compare health indicators for a community with high exposure to those with the general population in that country. For example, the demographic and health surveys could be a source of comparison on health problems, including reproductive outcomes and childhood infections. A second simple design could be to compare the health of a community of high exposure with one that is similar in most other ways, except that it has low exposure. In both communities, we could, for example, monitor air, soil, or drinking water using low-cost exposure sensors, and then undertake a community health survey. Relevant health indicators for each community can then be compared to see if health is worse in the community with toxic pollution. Another way of identifying communities could be to use distance to assign exposure. For example, those living within 1 kilometre of a pollution source could be classified as highly exposed, those between 1 and 5 kilometres medium exposed, and those between 5 to 10 kilometres low exposed. Distance to assign exposure has been used in studies of PFAS contamination in Ohio, where differences in health problems could be seen depending on how close the drinking water district was to the chemical factory. Assessment of exposure could be modified to include other information such as wind direction. How are these simple study designs made more participatory? Participation can occur at all stages of the research process, allowing for feedback throughout. For example, problem identification could be undertaken in focus group discussions that ensure diverse community groups are represented. Specific participatory tools could be employed, such as problem trees to identify exposure health pathways, and timelines or trend analysis to see the development of the health exposure problem. In order to collect quantitative data, the output from the problem identification step can be fed into the design of more traditional health survey tools, such as questionnaires, and this can help to ensure appropriate questions and language. A pre-test and discussion of the survey tool can be undertaken with the community before actual surveying and environmental monitoring. Environmental monitoring can also include tools such as community mapping, using transect walks or participatory GIS and video methods to systematically capture the exposure problem. Analysis with the community improves the interpretation of the data and produces hybrid data, which can combine narratives with quantitative data, producing policy-ready data with relatable local content. A deeper understanding of the problem means that planning for action with the community can be more creative, and all stakeholders are motivated to be involved in implementation and evaluation. But is more data better? Even the best, most accurate and easy to use pollution sensor will not deter toxins. Furthermore, even the most participatory of tools can be co-opted if the framework for the research does not acknowledge the underlying structural causes. This leads us to the next challenge: to ensure that data can increase the negotiation power of people fighting pollution. Whereas science is presented as neutral, strongly participatory citizen science comes from the understanding that both science and toxic pollution are created within global and local structures of inequality. At the centre are communities who may be supported by NGOs. Experts sit outside, in practice often above, and these scientists or researchers may have little or no connection to the communities they are studying. The wider contexts that shape scientific research are often ignored. For example, the priorities of politicians, government agencies or funders, structural inequality, corporate power, and the role of politics in shaping policy all influence which scientific questions are funded and whether the science is acted upon. These factors act globally and locally and are all a question of power. Data that can increase the negotiation power of people fighting pollution should be generated within a framework that puts communities at the centre and acknowledges these power relations. A useful idea is the ladder of citizen participation, which shows the climb from non-participation to citizen power. Community-based participatory research, or CBPR, is an approach that attempts to place communities at the centre of research through equitable partnerships. This practice was described on day 2 by Pamela Miller, a really inspiring presentation on the work of the Alaska Community Action on Toxics. CBPR is a process in which power should be shared in all aspects of the research process. It begins with a research topic of importance to the community. This type of collaboration recognizes the unique strengths of each partner, seeks to develop research knowledge, mutual trust, culturally centered research methods, sustainable interventions, build community capacity, and change power relations among the partners. The model is a visual representation of the domains of context, partnership processes, intervention, and research, which play a role in health outcomes. Contextual factors provide a backdrop for partnership dynamics, including how they are managed and strengthened. If partnering practices are effective, then they shape intervention and research design with emphasis on mutual learning and ability to work together. Finally, the model shows that intervention and research processes produce intermediate outcomes, such as enhanced systems or capacity changes, and long-term outcomes such as improved health equity. The ultimate aim is to combine knowledge and action for social change to improve community health and eliminate health disparities. Taking this idea one step further is moving up the ladder from partnership to control with community-driven participatory research. In the analysis of community-driven participatory research from Rhodes and colleagues, some lessons in particular stand out. Community members are expert, not victim, and they should co-direct the entirety of the process and be adequately compensated. Furthermore, the research should facilitate the community-based organizations' organizing efforts. They suggest that using different language, such as community-driven research, instead of citizen science, can be more inclusive. So, is this a good method for assessing the health effects of toxic exposures? Work, including that of the Alaska Community Action on Toxics, suggests many pros and a few cons. It can be an effective community organizing tool and generate deeper knowledge about exposure, community health and their rights, and identify emerging toxic threats. It can lead to improved interpretations of the data by including narratives for local context. Furthermore, co-analysis for planning can lead to more sustainable interventions, from community-based action to policy engagement. On the other hand, community is self-defined, and it can take work to ensure inclusivity. The process can result in scientific rigor being questioned. There is a substantial investment of time required from the participants and could mean decades of commitment to the community. Finally, the cost involved may be prohibitive. I've shown the use of CBPR to create radical change with communities at the centre. However, Linda Kakari-Stone and colleagues have also clearly described this as a framework for generating policy-relevant evidence. Often there is a fundamental disconnect between policymakers and researchers. However, the likelihood for evidence to be used in policymaking increases if the policymakers perceive it as useful. Thus, in their framework, the CBPR partners intentionally set policy goals and direct their strategies towards policy-oriented outcomes, such as modifying local, regional, or national laws. While science is considered a necessary tool to uncover and identify toxic pollution, scientific evidence is often used to argue against community experience. Some communities are using scientific tools not to collect data, but instead to tell stories of the contamination that they encounter in their daily lives. In this way, scientific tools can be used to generate political support. One such example is the community-led toxic tours in Ecuador, which aim to make the toxic histories of oil extraction understandable for outsiders such as lawyers, students, tourists, and activists. There they use the auger, a metal tool used to take soil samples, and they publicly display the contamination. In this way, they create a sensory experience, seeing, smelling, and touching oil pollution. These tours allow the forging of connections across spatial, political, racial, and emotional distance, and generate support for communities. A truly creative use of scientific tools for political theatre. With the exposure health framework, some possibilities arise. There may be common exposure problems across cities or countries where scaling up and pooling the data and analyses could be beneficial. We can also ask whether connections with regional networks of scientists researching toxicants and health could be useful. One example could be the International Society for Environmental Epidemiology, the ISE Asia chapter. Or there may be scope for collaborations with existing citizen science environmental health projects. So in conclusion, some questions to take us into the future. How can we make our advocacies more relevant to affected communities? What are the common problems across countries? How much participation is really necessary for our advocacies, given cost and time? Who can we partner with to generate evidence and policy? And how and when can science be used for political theatre? Thank you for listening. I thoroughly recommend the book Toxic Truths, which is available for free. Thank you to IPEN for inviting me to
Okay, thank you, Nina. Thank you for your insightful presentation. The challenges you highlighted, how to make citizen science relevant to everyday life experiences, and how to ensure that the data can increase the negotiation power of people fighting pollutions are on spot. What you shared about the possible ways we can study the health effects of toxic exposure is also very useful. And finally, the possibilities you pointed out of pulling together data on common exposure problems across cities or countries, connecting with regional networks of scientists, and collaborating with existing citizen science environmental health projects give us a path forward. Let us give a virtual round of applause for Nina. Yay, thank you. We will have time now for live Q&A after all the speakers have presented. So you may also start typing your questions and the speakers may also start answering them in the chat box. Continue to the second speaker. I would like to introduce someone I know very well as a public interest groups in Indonesia have partnered with her in numerous citizen science projects. Dr. Yeni Meliana. She's the director of the Research Center for Chemistry, Indonesian Institute of Science, or LIPI in Bahasa Indonesia, the name. In Bahasa Indonesia, LIPI is the shorten of Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia. Yeni holds a PhD in chemical engineering from the National Taiwan University of Science and Technology. Welcome, Ibu Yeni. Oh, just a reminder, for those who wish to listen to the presentation in English or Chinese, you will stay here in the Zoom platform. For those who wish to have Bahasa, Vietnamese, or Thai subtitles, please click on the chat box or access Ibu Yeni's presentation from our website. So you could open the video and choose your preferred subtitles. Ibu Yeni, please, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity inviting us in this event, Southeast Asia Virtual Conference 2020, and I hope we are all in health and good condition. In this session, I would like to share about collaborating with analytical laboratories in Research Center for Chemistry, Indonesian Institute of Sciences. I'm Yeni Meliana, and currently I'm assigned as Director of Research Center for Chemistry, Indonesian Institute of Sciences. In Bahasa is known as Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia, LIPI. At the first, I will introduce our office and laboratory. Research Center for Chemistry is located in kawasan Puspitek Serpong, South Tangerang, Banten Province, Indonesia. We can see in this map is in Java Island near Jakarta and not so far from the airport. The detailed information can be accessed in our website or via email. Research Center for Chemistry is located in Puspitek National Science and Technopark in Serpong, along with other research center and institution. We can see in this figure is quite huge area. We'll own in area about 450 hectares and a half is being part of Banten province and another half is part of Java province. Puspitek is known as biggest technopark in Indonesia, where it's also called as Indonesia Silicon Valley, river to the center for Indonesian technology development. Research Center for Chemistry consists of 4 buildings. The first is the main building here. Second is pilot plant. In this building is function as bioethanol pilot plant and other chemical process in large scale. Third is herbal drugs and laboratory. Fourth is advanced characterization material laboratory. This building consists of analytical instrument for chemical, physical, and material characterization. The Research Center for Chemistry, RCChem, is one of Indonesian government research center under the Indonesian Institute of Sciences, LIPI, that was established in 1958. We have process laboratory, we have pilot plant, and also analytical laboratory facility, which includes expertise in chemistry. The main object of Research Center for Chemistry activities are carry out research and development in the field of chemistry and disseminate the result to the public to support Indonesia's sustainable economic development, to promote science and technology to industrial and scientific communities. We can see figure here some of our researchers working in their laboratory. Our institution vision is to be a world-class research center that advances science and technology in the field of chemistry for enhancing quality of life and national competitiveness. Indonesian Institute of Sciences, led by Chairman of LIPI, supported by Executive Secretary. Under the Chairman, there are 5 deputy for Life Sciences, Deputy for Earth Sciences, Deputy for Engineering Sciences, Deputy for Social and Humanity Sciences, Deputy for Scientific Services. Research Center for Chemistry is under Deputy of Engineering Sciences. We can see in this figure, Research Center for Chemistry, led by Director, supported by Head of Division of Research Management and Secretariat, directly under the Director, Supervised Laboratory Assistant, Laborant, and Researcher, which divided into 8 research groups. In 2020, Research Center for Chemistry consists of 8 research groups. For the first, macromolecular chemistry research group, which is study about synthesis and modification of polymer. Second, analytical chemistry research group, develop and provide analytical methods for the characterization of chemical materials, product, and the waste. Chemistry research group. This group study and develop nutrient-rich food, functional food, and also for food safety. The fourth is process technology of biomass chemical and bioenergy research group. Develop biomass-based fuel as an environmentally friendly alternative energy source. Participate in effort to reduce greenhouse gas emission. Material chemistry and catalyst research group focus on development of nano-microstructure material. And we also have medicinal chemistry research group, utilization of Indonesian natural product for medical material. 7, we have natural product chemistry research group to discover and to conduct research and development of potential chemical compound from natural product in terrestrial nor aquatic like plant, animal, nor microbe. And the last one, chemical bioprospecting research group, the opportunity for application of newly found chemical compound in genes, protein, microorganism, and other product in biodiversity. So this is our research facility and instrument for chemical constituent characterization. We have micro-TGA, Corvisor, ELISA reader, UVLC, ELSD fluorescence, GC-ECD, and GC-MS. Next, we have gas chromatography for NOx, SOx, GC natural, oxidase, proximate analysis instrument, texture analyzer, viscometer. Here several kind of centrifuges here. We also have instrument for physical properties characterization. This is electrode selective ion ESI to analyze ion concentration in water, viscometer, and also pH meter. Microscope, we also have to ICV, OES, CEMS-MS, and HPLC ICP-MS. We also have instrument advanced material and polymer characterization. Here, XRD to identify crystallinity, XRF to analyze element in metal, glass or ceramic, bomb calorimeter, series mini reactor, moisture balance, and GC greenhouse. Here we have particle size analyzer, nano and micro, to measure particle size and zeta potential, densitometry for density, water and O2 vapor for permeability to measure permeability vapor barriers. Indonesian Institute of Sciences has many collaboration with NGO, communities, and citizen groups. These collaborations are expected to increase the research productivity in Indonesia. One of our collaboration is a research collaboration with Nexus 3 Foundation or Bali Focus Foundation. We have collaboration since 2017. Our collaboration research is about microplastic in marine life. We also have been collaborating with University Hasanuddin to collect fish sample from many places in Indonesia. In this collaboration, we extracted the fish stomachs in certain solvent and incubated 24 hours, then separated the present object as microplastic. The obtained microplastic were analyzed using ATR, FTIR, and its database. This figure for ATR, FTIR, we found that some of them polypropylene, PP, polyethylene PE, rayon fiber, and glass fiber. While for smaller content of microplastic, we extracted feces meat, kidney, and liver using CEMH extraction. This is figure for CEMH extraction. We evaporate the solvent using concentrator evaporacy here and analyze the sample using GCMS. The analytical chemistry research project in Research Center for Chemistry are identification microplastic contamination skipjack tuna from the southern coast of Java, Indonesia. And we also determination of migration phthalate ester and bisphenol A from packaging material onto food. Synthesis of molecular imprinted polymer for pra-concentration of ethyl and butyl phthalate. Development of online monitoring of mercury in Citarum River, West Java. LIPI has many international networks. In Southeast Asia, we have international network with Thailand here, with Queen Sirikit Botanic Garden, National Science and Technology Development Agency, with Vietnam, Vietnam Academy of Social Science, Singapore, National University of Singapore, and Malaysia, with University Science Malaysia, University Putra Malaysia, University Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. We are open for collaboration with scheme joint research, exchange researcher or training, workshop and symposium, also for the scholarship and postdoctoral. Research Center for Chemistry here have been an important role as focal point in subcommittee on food science and technology. The objective of this subcommittee are to strengthen collaborative R&D, promote higher level of intra-ASEAN cooperation and collaboration, establish database for exchange information, and increase capabilities and improve infrastructure. RCChem also active in international organization in the field of environment, namely in Rotterdam Convention as Chemical Review Committee member, commencing from 2020 till 2024, which aim to share responsibilities in relation to importance of hazardous chemicals. In Stockholm Convention, as Persistent Organic Pollutant Review Committee member on 2012 till 2020, which aim to eliminate or restrict the production and use of persistent organic pollutant. Our institution also support Basel Convention, with aim to reduce the movement of hazardous waste between nations. Minamata Convention, to protect human health and environment from anthropogenic emission and release of mercury and mercury compounds. Also, as National Pesticide Commission from 2008 till now. And how to collaborate with LIPI, Research Center for Chemistry offer opportunity for collaboration and innovation. For collaboration initiation, you can directly communicate to researcher, SPIC, person in charge, or by contact the official email. We also need MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, or MOA, Memorandum of Agreement. This is MOU or MOA will describe a cooperative relationship between LIPI or Research Center for Chemistry and a partner that will be signed by chairman of LIPI or can be by directors. MOA or MOU contain agreement, right, and obligation. So it's party in the project. Thank you. This is all I can share. I hope we can do collaboration in the future. If there are any questions, I would be happy to open up the discussion. Thank you.
Terima kasih Ibu Yeni. Thank you so much for your informative presentation. I just can't believe it that we've been working together since 2017. Yeah, we have to finalize our papers. So we are happy to learn about the research capabilities of your analytical laboratory and the collaborative research projects you've had with us and with many others. We appreciate your reiterating LIPI's continued openness to partnering with Citizens Group. So we should take this opportunity to move forward. LIPI's engagement around the different international chemicals agreements also has been visible. We've seen Pak Agus also in the committee of the Stockholm Convention, Pop Rock Committee. And you also now involved in the Rotterdam Convention. It's opened up a lot of possibilities for engagement with you and LIPI. Let us give a virtual round of applause for Ibu Yeni. Yay! So excited. Okay, our next presenter will be engineer Ana Rivera. She's the director of the Center for Cosmetic Regulation and Research of the Philippines Food and Drugs Administration. She's a chemical engineer by training, and she has numerous peer-reviewed publications around health and environmental impacts of mercury and pesticides exposures to communities. If you remember Tony's presentations on day 2, the positive regulatory outcomes he presented on mercury-containing cosmetics, well, we can say those positive outcomes would not have been achieved without having a reliable ally with the FDA, and that has been Ana. So friends, let's welcome engineer Ana Rivera. Final reminder for English and Chinese speakers, you may stay here in Zoom meeting room to access the Bahasa Indonesia, Vietnamese, and Thai subtitles. Please click the link in the chat box or access Ana's presentation from our website. So you could open the video and choose your preferred subtitles. Ana, please, the floor is yours.
Good day to everyone. I'm Engineer Ana Trinidad Rivera from the Philippines. First and foremost is I would like to thank the organizing committee for this conference for inviting me to do this presentation for you today. I will now share my slides with the audience. The topic that was given to me was enhancing policy outcomes of citizen science. The topics to be discussed includes the definition of citizen science, practical applications and engagement with citizen science groups, such as the ELAC, Healthcare Without Harm, Ban Toxics, EcoWaste, NASEC, IPEN, TUCT, and the way forward. Let us first define what citizen science is. Citizen science is the practice of public participation and collaboration in scientific research. For this conference, I think you have discussed this definition thoroughly. So through citizen science, people share and contribute to data monitoring and collection programs. Citizen science have been established in mostly first world countries, but it's now gaining ground in low-middle income countries in Asia, such as the Philippines. The typical process of conducting research studies are often tedious and needs a lot of resources, including manpower, time, and budget. And for studies that would need human biomonitoring, we would have to deal with a lot of ethical issues, especially if you would like to see different population groups, like children and pregnant women. At times, selection of the population for the study is also a constraint, as interaction between the researcher and the population have not been fully established. This is one of the areas where citizen science can make these research studies work. The very first collaboration that we have established when I was at the DOH, or the Department of Health before, was with the ELAC, or the Environmental Legal Assistance Center, which raised concern on the health of former miners in a mercury mine in Palawan in the 1990s. The DOH, together with the UP National Poison Management and Control Center, collaborated with the community, local government units, and ELAC to conduct a health assessment of former mercury miners. The government provided the necessary health management and expanded the assessment to the environment, to which the local government unit provided long-term solutions in terms of the water supply and the health monitoring of the residents in the area. Whenever we would need to conduct health and environmental monitoring, including collection of samples, for instance, fish samples for mercury testing, residents and local officials would easily provide assistance to the team. These efforts were documented and scientific papers were published accordingly. Mercury as a chemical of concern in the country, if I remember correctly, in 2006, we have had 3 mercury incidents necessitating government action regarding this chemical. First was the issue of mercury contamination in fish attributed to large-scale mining in Bicol. The DOH, together with the UP National Poisons Management and Control Center, deployed a team to look into this matter. Second, while we were doing the health and environmental assessment in Bicol, a second incident of a mercury spill in a school in Manila was brought to the attention of the DOH and necessitated the convening of the Interagency Committee on Environmental Health. Third was the issue of a mercury poisoning in a high school student that have a very poor prognosis and would have resulted in kidney failure if not for the timely referral and intervention of a medical toxicologist. This brought to light a question from the then Secretary of Health, and which I quote, "What about our health workers in our healthcare facilities? How are they doing in terms of mercury exposure, since we are using mercury-containing thermometers and sphygmomanometers?" The DOH made its own rapid risk assessment, which showed the risk of health workers and patients to mercury. Thus, with continuing awareness raising from these three groups, Healthcare Without Harm, EcoWaste, Ban Toxics, we are proud to say that we were the first to implement the phase-out of mercury in healthcare facilities. The Philippines has also ratified the Minamata Convention. The Philippine Department of Health issued Administrative Order 2008 calling for the phase-out of mercury in medical devices across the country by 2010. The PhilHealth revised its accreditation policy and ordered the non-accreditation of non-mercury-free hospitals. The Philippines Department of Interior and Local Government issued Memorandum Circular 2010-140 enjoining all provincial governors, city mayors, municipal mayors, DILG regional directors, and others concerned to ensure compliance to the Department of Health's Administrative Order 21, mandating gradual phase-out of mercury-containing devices in all Philippine healthcare facilities and institutions. Mercury in healthcare facilities in the Philippines has had a growing number of hospitals that are moving towards mercury-free healthcare. So in the Philippines, more than 600 hospitals are moving towards this mercury-free healthcare. And a support statement also requested the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to provide storage for the mercury-containing devices that will be taken out of the hospitals. Because of the mercury spill incident in the school in 2006, continuing collaboration with the Department of Education and Ban Toxics was done in schools. Likewise, activities towards generating the necessary data on mercury in the ambient and working environment in artisanal small-scale gold mining have provided the local government units the impetus towards enacting relevant local ordinances, legislations to protect their constituents. On another issue, the National Poison Management and Control Center of the Philippine General Hospital and the East Avenue Medical Center provided a summary report on silver jewelry cleaning poisoning, both cyanide and non-cyanide containing, which consists of around 147 cases and 4 mortalities from non-accidental or deliberate use and accidental misuse of silver jewelry cleaners, among others. The EcoWaste Coalition persistently and consistently raised the issue in its tri-media campaigns and platforms and provided information to the regulators as to the entities selling these products, which would provide the basis for regulatory action. In a joint advisory, the Health Secretary then, Enrique Ona, and Environment Secretary Ramon Paje, said that there has been an increasing public health concern over cases of poisoning attributed to such solutions as documented by the UP National Poisons Management and Control Center, which led to the joint advisory on the ban on the silver jewelry cleaning agents by the DOH and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Another area of concern for the EcoWaste Coalition is on toys and childcare articles, where they have been monitoring harmful chemicals and reporting the results to the regulatory agencies such as the FDA and the DTI, and this resulted in the issuance of the FDA Circular Number 2019-004 on the ban on bisphenol A from infant feeding bottles and sippy cups as child care article products. The Philippines is primarily a Catholic nation. Hence, the Catholic Church has been actively supporting the initiatives on issues that affect the community. One such church-based organization is the Marinduque Council for Environmental Concerns, or MASEC. It is a church-based non-government organization based in Marinduque Island, Philippines, working on environmental justice, disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, among others. It was founded in July of 1996 to confront the issues on mining and disasters in Marinduque and the Philippines. We have also had the opportunity to work with the Diocese of Kidapawan on the issue of arsenic in geothermal areas. Since the central office of the Department of Health cannot be present in all of these activities, the DOH, together with the UP National Poisons Management and Control Center, have empowered the residents in the area in terms of the science. Thus, these church groups are now involved in multi-partite monitoring groups and have been vigilant in their work. Next is the issue on aerial spraying. This issue was raised by the affected communities in these agricultural plantations, and the recommendations of the studies that were undertaken and the assessment supports the surveillance, environmental monitoring, and further epidemiological study on the health effects of pesticide usage. Further recommendation includes the implementation of good public health practice to protect populations from unnecessary exposure to harmful chemicals through appropriate risk reduction measures. And through this issue, it highlighted the precautionary principle espoused by the Rio Declaration, of which the Philippines is a signatory. We have also had alliances with labor groups on the issue of asbestos. We provided inputs in collaboration with the labor groups. We provided inputs to the national programs for the elimination of asbestos-related diseases. The campaign vigilance prodded government action to attend to an improper removal of asbestos and asbestos-containing materials from the defunct Manila Thermal Power Plant and the Central Bank building. It also discovered that the wire gauze used in primary, secondary, and tertiary schools and professional laboratories used in many decades contained the deadly chrysotile asbestos, prompting officials to issue a memorandum phasing out and banning its use in several schools and campuses. With this in mind, how does citizen science help policy development and regulation? It increases public participation in scientific research and will ideally cultivate a citizenship that is knowledgeable about the scientific enterprise. It will encourage people to take a stake in the world around them. It is hoped that this informed public will play an invaluable role in influencing larger decisions about science policy. It also helps in filling up of the gaps by gathering crowdsourced data that would be hard to obtain due to time, geographic, or resource constraint. Especially in this time of pandemic and with the advent of technology for our smartphones, this would be an important aspect in providing information to policymakers. Leverages resources by using the efforts of a large group of people to research environmental problems that government may not have the resources to pursue. It builds meaningful relationships with communities to increase engagement and problem solving with local units to promote open government. Citizen science informs research and policy in terms of enabling researchers to view and utilize data from myriad subjects and locations across the globe all at once. The results of research gained through citizen science projects can be used to inform local policies, as what I have presented, enhance formal and informal education initiatives, conserve natural resources, and support environmental sustainability. Data suggests that participation in citizen science helps improve literacy and understanding among members of the public. However, this is not without challenges. Citizen science faces a number of challenges, including data quality and recruitment, in terms of both persuading more scientists to work on such projects and enlisting enough citizens to participate in them. Papers published in the past few years have identified flaws in citizen-sourced data, including deviations from standard protocols and biases in recording or in the choice of sampling sites. This also holds true for formal research studies. Researchers and participants are also encountering challenges with ethics, data use, and privacy. Our way forward, citizen science has amazing potential, as I have shown in the previous discussion, as an innovative approach to data gathering and experimental design, as well as an educational and outreach tool. It can really provide the policy direction for the government and other stakeholders. Let's make sure the future citizen science projects have sufficient rigor to earn the respect of participants, scientists, and policymakers. This ends my presentation, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Anna, for your insightful presentation. Maraming salamat. It's inspiring to see a government agency that is very open to working with public interest NGOs, and that together you helped protect the health of many people and communities through stronger policy regulations. Kudos. A virtual round of applause for Anna, please. Yes, so thank you so much once again for our three generous presenters. You can choose now one of the reaction buttons below to give our speakers your sign of appreciations, either thumb or clap your hands or yes, love sign. In this conference, we are lucky that we have IPEN's Senior Science and Technical Advisor, Jody Kanji, who have been attending this conference since day one. We noticed it. And he has been involved in many scientific projects done by IPEN participating organizations. And also has been involved in many policy advocacy and negotiations, especially the conventions related to chemicals and waste. So I would like to invite Joe to share his reflections in the last 25 or 30 years or so of his works. We've learned a lot from him, how to translate the local works of the NGOs on the ground and translate it into policy advocacy and change the treaty text and so on. So Joe, I'm sorry, this is a short notice for you, but I believe you can say, you know, quick lessons learned and that worth to share with us. Joe, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Yu-Yun, and I will share my screen. So I'm very pleased to present a few examples of how local actions have been able to connect to global policy making. I'm going to, since the time is short, I will basically give three examples, and you can see them here. They include a pesticide, a toxic metal, and a chemical which has become a global water pollutant. So let's start with this pesticide example. This was a big topic in the Philippines and also in India and other countries, and it really involves efforts to achieve a global ban on endosulfan. This chemical was used widely in the Indian state of Kerala in aerial spraying to cultivate cashew nuts. And this is what the pesticide spraying resulted in. This girl was 7 years old at the time. Her name is Shruti, and she agreed to be sort of the public face of community opposition to aerial spraying of this pesticide. And I'm very happy to say that now she looks like this and is actually a medical student studying to be a doctor. So this pesticide was a little difficult because it was in fact made by a state-owned company and also produced other toxic pesticides. However, it was nominated for addition to the Stockholm Convention, and the NGO team that participated in this evaluation used information that came from communities, including scientific studies of those communities, to supply information to the evaluation. While we were doing that, our colleagues in India were continuing with the campaign. You might be wondering, who is this guy in the front that's lying down? That is Mr. A.S. Achuthanathan, who at that time was the highest ranking government official in the state. He conducted a hunger strike, actually, for a full day. And when the top person in the state government does this, then other state government employees can also participate. This became a huge topic in India, and then it went to the global decision-making body, the Conference of the Parties. This is what the plenary room looks like in Geneva, Switzerland. And at this meeting, we brought more data and more experiences, but we did it in an interesting way. It turns out that endosulfan is also used to make both chocolate and coffee. So we thought that was an unbeatable combination, and we served free coffee and chocolate to the delegates, which gave us a very good opportunity for us to talk to them about why this chemical should be banned. And in fact, we modified the poster. It was banned, and it was banned in the Stockholm Convention, later in India. The exemptions have now expired, and a follow-up program actually yielded the decision, which was something that we also advocated, which was to replace endosulfan with agroecology approaches. Now, the second example deals with mercury pollution, and this was stimulated in part by this horrible mercury poisoning, which happened in this region in Japan. This is an old photo of the Chiso Corporation dumping mercury-containing waste into the water, which contaminated the fish and caused a huge tragedy in the community that unfolded over decades. And this woman, Shinobu Sakamoto, became a very important voice for bringing the experience of her community to the world. However, both she and the rest of us realized that many delegates would think of this issue as being far away in Japan or some local problem. And so what we decided to do first was to make the experience a little more personal for negotiators in the meeting. So we collected scientific data about specific types of fish, and then we served mercury-contaminated fish to the delegates. This smiling man in the center here in the blue shirt is Fernando Lugris, who is a diplomat from Uruguay, and he served as the president of the Mercury Treaty negotiation. Most of the delegates understood what we were doing, but some of the press people got very angry at us for deliberately serving contaminated fish. But the truth is that it's so widely present, it's not hard to find in fish. The second thing we did was at the first negotiating meeting in Stockholm, Sweden, we actually sampled the hair of government negotiators of the treaty to make it a little more personal. I will never do something like this again. It was exhausting. We sampled early in the week. We did all the laboratory analysis, then wrote the report and presented the results on Friday. It was a really impossible job. But here's the main plenary room in Stockholm where this meeting was conducted. And we managed to convince quite a few government delegates who were just curious about their own mercury content. And fortunately, also the Minister of Environment of the country. And when he decided to do it, of course, then all the opposition parties also had to have their hair tested. And this woman was an Olympic gold medalist in skiing. She agreed to participate along with some NGO representatives. And what we found was shocking to the delegates, even though it should not be. And that you can see the results here. We found it in everybody. And in particular, we found it quite a bit more in participants from developing and transition countries. Many delegates came up to me very alarmed, Joe, I have mercury in my hair. And the thing that was funny about that to us was that we had been talking about this all week, but it really had the impact of making this whole topic more personal. Because one of the problems in policy meetings, and this is true in national or local policy meetings as well as global ones, the problem is that the discussion is very abstract. And so our intention was to really make it personal. And the result, I cannot go into all the details, but we wanted to address not just air pollution from mercury, but land and water, since that's how the initial community poisoning happened in Japan. And this acetaldehyde production was the production used by the Chiso Corporation, and a few other items related to contaminated sites, since the original community poisoning was a contaminated site. Okay, now the final example is this very common water pollutant. This is perfluorooctanoic acid, or PFOA, and this story is about our efforts to achieve a global ban on this chemical in the Stockholm Convention. This is a very bad substance for a number of reasons. You can see them here. And due to the unfortunate pollution from DuPont in the US, this chemical has been linked to these specific diseases in humans. So this is a serious chemical, and it dissolves quite easily in water, and this makes it very prone to water pollution. Some of you may have heard about or even seen this movie, Dark Waters. This is a movie about DuPont's pollution of the community drinking water supply with PFOA. It's a very good movie, and one of the reasons why I'm mentioning it is because the filmmakers had to present some scientific information about the chemical to make the plot sensible. And the way that they did it was really very well done. They presented just enough information, and the story is also fascinating because it's a true story. So I would recommend that. Then back to the story. So one of the uses of PFOA is shown here in firefighting foams. And you can see that this use basically sprays the chemical right into the environment. And to address that, we assembled an expert panel of people involved in the industry who were making fluorine-free firefighting foams and shared a common interest in having foams containing this chemical to be banned. One of the things that we showed in our report with them is that the alternative to these PFOA and fluorine-containing foams is actually the same cost as the fluorine-containing ones, and it's sort of analogous to the situation with lead paint, where the lead-free paint is roughly the same cost. We conducted a press conference to present these results. I'll just introduce the four people on the right. You know the other two. The four people on the right, the guy on the far right is responsible for the Copenhagen Airport Rescue and Firefighter Academy. Next to him is the vice president of the Firefighters Trade Union in Australia. The woman in the yellow is a Yupik indigenous woman from the Arctic, where these chemicals end up. And next to her is the guy in charge of firefighting issues for Equinor, which used to be called Stat Oil, one of the largest oil companies in the North Sea. All of these people shared a common interest in eliminating this chemical. And in addition, we took basically the time and effort to have NGOs in these countries present and collect country situation reports on not just PFOA, but the entire class of chemicals that contain PFOA. And this included scientific reviews of information. We did not have the financing at that time to conduct sampling, but these groups collected a formidable body of information and information about regulation of these substances. And it was, of course, presented to all of these government delegates and came up repeatedly in our conversations at the Global Policy Meeting. Just feel obligated to show that where citizen science ends up is in a room like this, in a Global Policy Meeting. You can see there's some text on the screen, and this is what a fight looks like in a UN process. It's droning voices on microphones, and it is very late night fighting about specific words, because those words carry specific regulatory obligations. So we participated actively in this, and I'm very happy to say that we got quite a few, working with government allies, we got quite a few measures to address the use of this substance in firefighting foams. And we also managed to get a warning about this entire class of substances, which contains more than 4,700 harmful chemicals. So that is my brief presentation. Thank you for the opportunity. I took a guess as to what you were looking for, and hopefully this was close to it. Thank you very much. I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Joe, for pulling out your slides in a short notice. But yes, everyone, that's the real experience and the real reflections from our existing and current activities. So how our projects in every country, small projects, can be translated and help push the global treaty negotiations. So thank you, Joe, for your leadership. And you always give us inspiring ideas what to do and what works, what not, you know. Okay, so before answering questions, I think we should take a photo together. Who's this? Who's in charge for this? Marnie? I think everyone should turn your video so we can see your beautiful faces. Yay! Colorful. Okay, wow. Thank you. 34 participants today. Yeah. I don't know how many of you on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
Okay. Marnie, please.
Everyone's videos are on.
Yes.
Okay. Yuichi, Tony, are you there? Tony, Yuichi, Yoichi?
Yeah, yes. Hello.
Ah, Tani. Oh gosh,
Tani, yeah.
Tani.
Okay. Leah, your other one is not on. Okay, all right.
It's okay.
Okay, so ready? One moment. Okay, smile everyone. Yay. Okay, one more. One sec. Let me save this. Okay, page 2. Okay, everyone. Smile. Ready, set, go.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So good. Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you, everyone. I can see everyone now. It's lovely to see everyone. Oh, there are 4 of you in one screen. Interesting. Hi, Tani. Oh my God. See you all, friends. Thank you for participating. Okay, so we'll go to the question and answer. I've seen that some questions already answered there, but let me see. It's sometimes it's difficult to read. So question for Dr. Yenny from Tony. Most non-government organizations. Oh, sorry, Ibu Yenny, are you here? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see you before. Okay. So maybe all speakers, please turn your video on during this question and answer. Thank you. So for Ibu Yeni, once again, most non-government organizations lack of fund to pay for costly laboratory analysis. In your impressive collaborations with Indonesian NGOs, may we know if you offer NGO discounted or reduced laboratory charges, especially if they don't have enough citizen science project funding? Thank you.
Okay, Bu Yuyun, I try to answer question from Tony. Okay, thank you, Tony. I try to answer the question. For the cost scheme in LIPI laboratory is based on a government regulation. So discount is only available for student, unfortunately. But however, if we enter MOU, for example, when we collaborate with Nexus, which part our analytical laboratories can contribute. So we have the facility and the researcher as the human resources. So the NGO that already MOU with our laboratory can provide like raw material for analysis, such as solvent or other material. Furthermore, we may also try to apply a research grant together, for example, to Indonesian Ministry of Research Technology, like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Yeni. The next question from Bantayo Aweg for Dr. Anna. Dr. Anna, are you here? Engineer Anna. Yeah, okay. Is there any update with regards to Department of Health memorandum resolutions on the impact of aerial spraying to human health? Also, does DOH have studies on the impact of aerial spraying of pesticides to human health? Can you unmute your microphone, please?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Before I left the DOH, It was already elevated to the office of the president for action at the time. And it included also other government agencies such as the National Economic Development Authority. And as far as the study is concerned, we did a study before together with the UP National Poisons Management and Control Center. And since I'm no longer with the Department of Health, they can get a copy with the UP Poison Center with regards to the health and environmental impact of aerial spraying.
Okay. And I see also answer the questions also on the chat box. It's a bit long, 3 or 4 answers there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. So the next one, okay, just thank you, many thank you. Okay, so do you have any other questions here? Anyone have questions? Okay, one question from Tony again, from EcoWaste Coalition. Thank you very much for your excellent presentations, Engineer Rivera. If NGOs in our country will conduct citizen science projects, what do you think would be the most pressing national or local issues that we can prioritize, which will help the government in promoting health for all and in meeting our sustainable development targets? Also, you may share our efforts to stop the illegal trading or selling banned mercury-containing skin whitening creams. So
again,
you may share. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you for the question, Tony. Long time no see. Okay, as far as the priority is concerned, in terms of the focus of government, since I'm now with the Food and Drug Administration, I see that consumer products are not given priority in terms of the content of chemicals. So that should be one of the priorities, because the population that is covered is wider compared with the other concerns. And then in terms of the whitening agents, we need really to collaborate with the Bureau of Customs. We are very strict in terms of issuing out licenses to our market authorization holders. But still, we can see that this illegal mercury containing cosmetics are flooding the market. So we really need to engage with the Bureau of Customs and also the local government units. The local government units have a big role to play in terms of the enforcement of national regulations. So I guess together with the other government agencies, we can do more if we collaborate with each other, and especially with the citizens groups, especially EcoWaste, then we would be able to really make a greater impact if we join our hands together.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Anna. I have, so is there any more questions? If not, I have my question for Dr. Nina. Nina, are you there? Yeah, okay, cool. Nina, can you share with us the associations of scientists that can be reached out to conduct collaboration or research together with NGOs in our regions? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So I was thinking about I'm particularly familiar with the association that I'm a member of, which is the International Society of Environmental Epidemiologists. And there's an Asian chapter there. So I think, connecting on similar topics or in certain areas could maybe prove to be a productive way to move forward if studies on health were of interest to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be excellent. Do you have any chapter or member from Indonesia or in a particular country?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but we could talk. If you're interested, then we could talk about how to connect you with people, and
yeah, great.
I could do this. Yeah.
Yeah, great, excellent. So we'll get in touch after this.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so any more questions? You can ask also, not in chat, but raise your hand and also speak up. We still have time. I don't know how long do we have time? 5 minutes or? Yeah. Okay, if there is no further questions, I would like to express my gratitude to all speakers today. Thank you so much for your inspiring, motivating, and highlighting the work you've done. So congratulations. And thank you for all participants that are attending this conference. I've seen a lot of familiar names here, and colleagues from Japan. I just saw you here. And then I see also Mas Hari Suryadi, the journalist from the Pulitzer Center. Yeah, lots of friends. It's nice. Penchom, thank you for stopping by and attending. Yeah, so I have, I think I will invite Leah or Mani to share the citizen science projects, because in this project term, we, with the support from the Stockholm Environmental Institute, we are able to pull out 5 small projects, citizen science projects, that will be implemented now in 4 countries in our region. You heard 2 of them last week, yeah. Here are the titles of them. Yes, so you can see, yeah, from We Wish Consumer Association of Penang, CG Fed, Ecoton, IDIS, and Nexus 3 team. And we are excited to hear about the results of your citizen science projects. They will be producing also how-to videos about their initiatives. So you can watch them in the next couple of months on our website. We will also circulate the links and the lessons learned and the documentations of our citizen science projects. And then we also have our websites. So all of this virtual conference will be all the legacies of this conference. The presentation materials, the videos, and later also the citizen science projects will be uploaded and available on our website and YouTube, that you can visit anytime you like, with subtitles of 4 different languages. That's exciting, isn't it? Have different, it's fancy. We never have this before. So thank you, SCI, to allow us to make this happen. So all the presentations from the past 4 sessions, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, also will be there. So you can visit us anytime. Okay, so once again, thank you for all speakers from day 1 until day 4 and all the participants. We would like to express our sincere thank you and gratitude once again from day 1. They prepared well advanced, so we can translate it into, we could translate it into 4 languages. So that's another tough work to do, but yeah, it's new for us, but it's cool. So for our virtual conference, it will not be possible without all the other people translators, Zhang, Earth team, Gita Pertiwi, CG Fed, and live streamings in all partners' Facebook accounts, and also the organizing teams, amazing team. Thank you so much. We had fun. Yeah, so This all fun and smiley faces. Sometimes we got frustrated, but we shared mostly fun times and laugh all the time. Thank you. So for the conference evaluation, we have links in the chat box. Could you please click that box and fill the form so we can have your feedback about this conference, whether it's cool, whether it's not, whether it's dull or boring or too sophisticated or difficult to follow, or Wi-Fi connection problems and so on. So please do and take your time to fill the form. So I hope everyone get the access and the chat box. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the translators. Yeah, so while you are, you can click it also after this conference, but or you can click it now and then you fill it later, because I would like to invite Diane Asher from Stockholm Environment Institute. She's the Senior Research Fellow who's joining us from Bangkok. ECI's valuable support enabled us to hold this regional virtual conference, as well as the 5 citizen science projects for being implemented now in our region. So Diane, we would like to hear from you. What do you think about our virtual conference?
Thanks very much, Yoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Yeah, so I've sat in 3 of the 4 meetings, and I plan to catch up on the second one, which I missed on the YouTube channel. And I just want to say that I think the organizing team have done a great job. It wasn't easy circumstances, given that when there was the funding call, life was still pretty much normal. We were expecting to meet in person. And then suddenly it was all up in the air, and the team have done a great job of transitioning to an online only meeting, and also making sure it remained accessible to people speaking different languages, but also people joining in different ways. So if you can't join the actual live events, you can join, or you can listen and follow up later on YouTube, and that will be a really useful resource as well in future. I think a repository of talks all about citizen science. And I think also the idea of not having one whole day conference that just drags on forever, it's a little bit boring, but spreading it out over a few weeks makes it more accessible as well, and gives you something to look forward to over the 4 weeks. So I just wanted to say that the aim of the program that funded this event is the Strategic Collaborative Fund, funded by the Swedish International Development Agency. And basically we wanted to foster regional collaboration and policy dialogue. And I think this series of seminars has really managed to do that. We've had people presenting from all across Asia, different NGOs and networks working together, and also participation from community groups. And I think also we've seen from the types of presentations that citizen science is really relevant, whether you're an NGO dealing with environmental issues, or a concerned resident or affected community or church groups. We've had a variety of organizations and actors presenting their experiments. So I hope that this series maybe spurs on some more groups to consider using citizen science and to use it to work with the authorities to address some environmental concerns. And I look forward to seeing what comes out of the 5 smaller experiments that are about to start or ongoing. And just to say that I believe that next year we will have a similar call for proposals for events. So to look out for that early next year for the SCF fund again. And thanks very much to everyone at EcoWaste Coalition and Earth and Nexus 3.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, it's been a very interesting experience for all of us, and push us further to collaborate, to find a way how to explain our projects in a simple way, and even to translate it into 5 languages, 4 languages. It's an extra work, but it was fun. Yeah. Okay, so I think we reached at the end of our session. I would like to invite my colleagues behind the screen who do such a great job to make this happen. So Leah, I would like to invite you to show your face. Yes, Leah is the IPEN hub for Southeast Asia and East Asia. She's been the spearheaded of this project. She's done remarkable work. Oh my God. Thank you for investing your time in this. Yeah, you did a great job in this organizing this conference, pull it out together. Oh my God. That's awesome. And also Marnie, I would like to invite Marnie. So these are the people behind the screen. Marnie. Aha. Yeah, thank you. So everyone, this is Marnie. She's behind everything, the guide and so on and so on. She's involved on this project only, but I hope she will stay with us for a longer time for another projects. Yes. And we have also Kenneth. Where's Kenneth? Ken, show us your video, your face. Kenneth, where are you? Ken? Ah, okay. Hey, Ken, thank you so much for your social media. So Ken help us with social media and communication. Yeah, so it's challenging to have 5 languages, 4 languages, right? But with good works and collaborations between our teams, that's we fly, we take it off. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And I'd like to invite also Handra. Handra, where are you? Handra. Aha! So Handra is in charge for digital everything, the videoing, the website design, and how to communicate the project. So thank you so much, Handra. You're joining from Jakarta, right?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
Bandung,
you.
actually.
Oh, from Bandung. Okay, yeah, Bandung. It's not Jakarta. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining this. And of course, our colleagues and partners from EcoWays Coalitions, everyone, EcoWays Coalitions, and then from Earth, Penchom and Bobby. Unfortunately, Bobby cannot join today. Yeah. Thank you so much, Manny, for your support and your leadership from EcoWays Coalition. Also, Penchom. Thank you so much, Penchom. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to say something, Penchom? No. Okay. I'm looking for Magus. Magus, can you show your video? Please. Where are you? Aha. Okay. So we are all sisters in crime. Huh? Thank you. Yeah, thank you,
everyone. And nice to see you virtually. Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. And who else? From Nexus 3, Krishna, of course. Krishna, thank you so much, Chris. Where are you? Chris, the video. Krishna also has been pulling out the videos, the translations and transcripts of everyone. So thank you, Krishna. And of course, I don't know whether I missed, from Edis. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, colleagues from EDIS also did an excellent job in pulling this out. Okay, so I can't name them one by one, but thank you so much for everyone, for your participations, for all the speakers since day one. I hope
Dewi.
yeah, she just appeared. Dewi from Gita Pertiwi. Yeah, thank you so much.
The Bahasa translations.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all your participations since day one until today. And I hope this virtual conference on citizen science, I think this is the first one for us, for the region, that focusing on especially chemicals and waste and urban environment. So we are hoping that in the future we can do this again, maybe every year. Fingers crossed.
Diane sort of mentioned it earlier.
Hint. Okay.
Hint.
So I hope we can do this every year, and larger audience and bigger projects and more citizen science projects. So thank you so much, everyone.
Yay.
Have a good day and stay safe.